Samsung is ruining smartphones in Sri Lanka. Number 1, greed. Most people who are buying Samsung phones in Sri Lanka are usually broke or at least on a tight budget. So you would assume that Samsung phones are budget friendly.
No.
If you buy a Samsung phone, you need to pay extra for the privilege to charge the battery because Samsung does not include this part. It costs these companies literally nothing to include a charger in the box. And here's proof. This phone from SoftLogic goes for 4,000 rupees and comes with the proper charger in the box. You can't tell me, right, a single Samsung adapter is more valuable than this entire phone and a charger. We are way too broke to deal with this level of greed. Now, you might say, well, if these features are so important to Sri Lankans, why do they keep buying Samsung phones? Maybe you're just being overdramatic and it's not actually a big deal. No, I'm not being overdramatic. I am 100% right. As always, here's why. Samsung is like the Apple for broke people. And speaking of broke, so drop a subscribe. Sri Lankans view their smartphones as a status symbol, something to show off, which is why everyone is obsessed with iPhones. iPhones are seen as prestigious, and Samsung less so. They are more on the side of being trusted and reliable, and Chinese brands like Xiaomi are seen as cheap crap for people who can't afford anything better. Even though most Samsung phones that are sold are cheap, it's not associated with being a budget brand because there are expensive Samsung phones and super expensive, Samsung TVs. Therefore, having a cheap Samsung phone will make people seem richer than they actually are, which is very important. So they're going to be loyal to the brand name. And when a company finds out that their customers are loyal, their first step is to exploit it and make a ton of money. Samsung doesn't need to offer the best value, they don't need to include charges, and they can remove features and charge the same price because their customers will tolerate it. And I can prove this. Almost an year ago, I got to use the 2025 Galaxy A56, which at the time cost around 110,000. And after a few months, I chose to switch back to my older phone. And what was that older phone, you might say? An S25 Ultra, 17 Pro Max, a 6-year-old Redmi Note 9S, which was less than half the price of the Samsung. I barely noticed the difference between the phones, and the Xiaomi in fact had some features that the Samsung phone didn't, like a headphone jack and an IR blaster which allowed you to control your TVs and ACs. I felt with the Xiaomi that the company did its best to give me the best value for 40,000, whilst with the Samsung it felt like a lot of my money was just going towards the brand name rather than the phone itself. Yes, the phone was more premium and technically was fast and whatnot, but it just felt low effort. And you know what? Living in a developing country with crazy high inflation and low salaries, we shouldn't reward companies that take advantage of their customers. So screw Samsung, and if you're interested in buying a budget phone, I would strongly recommend looking towards a Xiaomi. Of course, do your research. No brand is perfect, but give them a shot. And thank you to Mr. Xi Jinping for sponsoring this video. You have conquered another part of Sri Lanka. Congratulations, sir. Anyways, jokes aside, let me know what you think and click here to find out why Pick.me is also kind of like Samsung. They don't care about their customers either. Thanks so much for watching. Drop a like, subscribe to see more videos. See you soon. Happy New Year, by the way. Bye-bye.